Happy full moon in Cancer and happy end of 2018. This is the last week of 2018. This is Revan, otherwise known as Cosmic Alignment, and this is an astrological forecast. This is an astrological forecast, otherwise known as an insight into the planetary universal energies that we are all experiencing as a collective in our culture and society, as that reflects, and as individuals that we each uniquely express. So let's go ahead and get into the main energies of this full moon that happened on December 21st, 22nd, depending on where you're at on the globe, and talk a little bit about the new moon that occurred on the 7th of December that initiated this whole energy that culminates in the full moon. Because honestly, I'll tell you something right now, I feel like as astrologers, sometimes we don't contextualize aspects as much as we should. By that I mean, yeah, full moon Cancer, let's talk about Cancer, let's talk about full moon, but what about the new moon that this cycle begun with? We gotta contextualize these aspects. This energy does not exist within a vacuum. It exists within a larger cycle. So let's look at the larger cycle. And that's what we'll do in this video. Look at the new moon energy briefly, this full moon energy, and how it's bringing us forward into this last week / beginning of 2019. So if you're into that type of thing, I'm glad you're watching this video, and let's get into it. So this new moon that begun this lunar cycle that we're currently in, that culminated into this full moon we're experiencing on the 21st / 22nd, depending on where you're at, begun on the 7th of December with the sun and the moon in Sagittarius. Now this full moon is occurring with the sun in Capricorn, the energy of the businessman, the politician, the person that wants to go out and actualize and institutionalize their visions of how the world should be. And the moon in Cancer, this maternal, very sensitive energy. What is the correlation? You see, I bring up the energy of the new moon because I feel like as astrologers, we gotta contextualize the aspects. We gotta contextualize this phenomenon, i.e., full moon in Cancer. It's not just existing within a vacuum, it's existing within a cycle. Where did the cycle begin? Like I said, in the Sagittarius. And something else to note is during this new moon in Sagittarius on the 7th of December, there was this grand trine occurring. That was the other big main energy occurring, right? So the trine was this grand water trine occurring between the North Node in Cancer, Mercury in Scorpio at that point, it's now in Sagittarius, and this stellium in Pisces, Mars, Neptune, and Chiron. There's this grand water trine that's been active since, even before, but has been alive within this lunar cycle. What does this energy reflect? This new moon energy, intuitively to me, and we can all have our individual personal interpretations and how this is expressed in their lives, but for me, intuitively, just collectively, in terms of just energies and archetypes, the energy of Sagittarius is a centaur with the arrow pointing heavenward, which is also reflecting this Chiron centaur aspect, right? So we see this centaur archetype emphasized and reinforced in this current planetary configuration up in the cosmos. And as astrologers, or anybody ever looking at a chart or looking at data, you want to look for patterns, right? When you see like something like this idea, this archetype being emphasized and emphasized, it's obviously leading up to, hey, this is something that's kind of big, being emphasized, kind of like big in the current phase. So the new moon, December 7th, sun, moon, Sagittarius, centaur, this philosophical fire of the mind, a mental, expansive energy ruled by Jupiter, the higher mind, the higher self. So what does that reflect? That by this part of our zodiac evolutionary journey, we have gained or are learning new philosophies or have gained a new philosophy as to how life works. Sagittarius reflects higher learning, models of reality, physics, philosophy, religion, law. Their Sagittarius energy wants to know how the world at large works. That's the energy occurring with this new moon in Sagittarius energy. And with this grand water trine, water element has to do with the feelings, the emotions, the psychic nature, with this trine between the North Node, which is our evolutionary path in Cancer. Again, I've spoken on this quite a bit, but I'll reemphasize, North Node evolutionary path in Cancer. The Cancer archetype is incredibly potent, especially because of the full moon falling in Cancer, right? And more stuff to come, but again, another pattern. During the new moon, we had a grand water trine with the North Node in Cancer, you can say spearheading it, which is our evolutionary path of establishing our emotional security from within. Cancer correlates to the inner child. It correlates to the mother. It correlates to how we relate to our ego, how we nurture ourselves, how we take care of ourselves. For the North Node, our evolution to be within the archetype of Cancer is reflecting that as a culture, as a society, as a collective, as individuals, we're learning how to take care of ourselves and nurture ourselves before anything and anybody yet. We are learning the fact that we cannot give anybody any water to drink if we don't have any water to drink ourselves. Our cup has to be at least filled so that we can be at our best to actually nurture and be caregivers to others. We first have to be the caregivers of ourselves. This is the North Node in Cancer energy. For that to spearhead this grand water trine is reflecting that, again, Chiron in Pisces with Neptune and Mars in Pisces. That energy is it's the mysticism, it's spirituality, it's that sense and that calling to live life in alignment with whatever form of God you believe in, or whatever idea of this source of creation that you believe in, is to trust in that and to flow and synchronize within that, to allow your own projects to fall in alignment with that, to have faith in the unknown, to trust the universe and to be in that cosmic flow, to trust the cosmic ocean is all that energy. Remember, Mars, masculine energy in Pisces. Neptune, the cosmic sea in Pisces. Chiron, the healer archetype in Pisces, reflects trusting the universe, trusting source, falling in alignment, synchronizing, is both healing to the self and helps us unlock that suspicion that we might have as a generation, and being able to trust the universe and be full-heartedly, divinely unconditional in our loving of ourselves so we can then give that to others. Pisces, Chiron. This energy combined is still alive now, and during the new moon, Mercury in Scorpio completed this grand water trine, reflecting, in my opinion, in my interpretation, Mercury being the mind, the logic, the intellect, how we process information in Scorpio, being this very occult sixth sense reflected that we have developed since the transformative eclipse season, Scorpio season that we all collectively experience, now has shown in that new moon that Mercury, our mind, the way that we process and we understand our immediate environment, has definitely developed a sixth sense. It's a little more occultish. It can understand and see in the dark, in the underworld, in Scorpio, in Pluto's realm of the psychic inner life that has and experiences life, birth, death, and rebirth and retransformation. So there's this awareness of this inner healing going on, and through the nurturing of our own ego, how this is establishing some real solidarity inside, within, and grounding us and centering us in our own authenticity and our own inner light. So within this context, that's the new moon energy that was birthed. We fast forward to December 25th, 21st, 22nd, wherever you're at. This full moon reflecting the sun walking into Capricorn and the moon being in Cancer, and there's still this grand water trine, but Mercury has now walked into Sagittarius. So Who's in Scorpio now? Venus. Venus walks right into that placement that Mercury was at during the new moon to yet again complete this grand water trine, wherein we're learning the evolutionary lesson of being our own caregiver and supporting ourselves and being that mother to that inner child, that baby within, nurturing and taking care of that little one. That evolutionary lesson that we have become now logically, we can say, aware of, right? And we can communicate and we can hear that conversation in everybody within ourselves, right? Now Venus walks into that placement of Scorpio, the underworld. What does this mean? Venus is the femininity. It is the feminine side within the collective. It is our aesthetic, our harmonious nature. It is the lover, the goddess, the beauty. What does this reflect? In relation to this moon now falling in Cancer and the North Node, which is currently experiencing a grand water trine, is in Cancer, it reemphasizes this archetype of Cancer. What is Cancer? And the sun is in Capricorn, and we're about to start off Capricorn season, or just did. And during the beginning of the year, we begin January 1st with Saturn, Capricorn's ruler, the celestial schoolmaster, we can say, conjunct the sun January 1st. And then the first week we have 5 planets in Capricorn. Again, this energy of Cancer and Capricorn is being emphasized. During this full moon, at the last week of the year, what does this reflect? What does this mean? This moon falling in Cancer is reflecting a culmination, an illumination of something that was birthed at the new moon. The full moon energy falling in Cancer, still with this grand water trine and Venus walking into completing that grand water trine with our evolutionary intention in Cancer and that healing going on in Pisces. What does this all mean? It reflects that we as souls have ascended and developed to a new state of being. We can appreciate, love, and see the beauty within nurturing and doing the inner work. It's an inner peace that we have grown to love. It's a spiritual way of life that we have developed a sense of appreciation for. Venus is beauty, love, the beauty in the eye of the beholder. In this sense, the collective, in your sense, in my sense, the individual. Falling in Scorpio, the sphere of the underworld, the inner life that experiences death and rebirth and transformation. Walking into that trine is seeing the beauty in the transformation, and has now, after gone the retrograde, through the shadow, all that craziness with Uranus and the lunar nodes, now at the end, this Venus walks into this beautiful grand water trine. And the moon is re-emphasizing this nurturing of self. So, to bring it back home, we're being called to develop and nurture our egos, to be that mother to that inner child, to that baby ego, this personality that we've developed. We gotta be a little bit more softer and take on the role of being the caregiver. So that full moon energy is what kicks off the week. It's a really strong full moon because even after that full moon, the moon conjuncts its own North Node in Cancer late Sunday. So walking into this upcoming week, even so, we feel that strong emotional urge to really withdraw from the world, to go inward, to take care of ourselves, to nurture ourselves, to take some time, some space, to be with that ego and to nurture that child. That's the main archetypical theme of this full moon, North Node Cancer, and this upcoming week. And really, we're learning to do this, and simultaneously through the law of polarity, the archetype of Capricorn is being promoted and emphasized within the cosmos. So as the sun walked into Capricorn, we also see that we have Saturn in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn, South Node in Capricorn, and Mercury is about to walk into Capricorn later on this upcoming month. So by that time, we will definitely start feeling that archetype energy of Capricorn. What is Capricorn? and what is Cancer? Why are they polarities, and why do they promote each other? Why does one being emphasized and activated emphasize the other, right? Through the law of polarity, they are both about security. This is what I mean. Cancer looks to establish the security within. It's about taking care of that inner child. The sensitivity, the inner life is enriched and activated. It is all about nurturing and taking care of that inner child and inner life. It's security, emotional security sought. In Capricorn, we see actually the exact opposite. We see security sought, but in the outside world, in society, in culture, by establishing a career, a profession, some type of work life. Same with Cancer, it looks to establish some type of, home, some type of tribe, some type of center of friends that they feel resonate with who they are. Or if you're more the introverted type, it's more just connecting to your own light and trusting your own self and trusting that inner guru, being connected to your own soul, which Cancer correlates to. So this upcoming week starts us off with that full moon energy. The moon walking into a conjunction with the North Node in Cancer. And this grand water trine is still very active within the whole week. And the beauty is in seeing the transformation that we've gone through throughout the whole year. It's so interesting how reminiscent we all become. And Venus in Scorpio looks at the transformation we've been experiencing, looks at the aftermath of everything that has come, looks at the rainbow and the light at the end of the transformative shit that we've gone through. Scorpio life, Pluto, underworld, situations, circumstances, trauma, sorrows, feelings, just fucking crap that we go through, right? So after gone through that, Venus walks into this beautiful harmony at the end of the year. And simultaneously, Mars walks into a conjunction with Chiron. Again, the Centaur / Chiron archetype keeps being emphasized during this last month of December, with the sun just having left Sagittarius and us having just left Sagittarius season, to this grand water trine occurring with Chiron being the consistent aspect to the North Node in Cancer, which again, I bring up, we're all feeling that need to step back and be like, I need to take care of me before I do anything for anybody else. Truth, we're all experiencing that. It's a collective archetype reflected in North Node Cancer. Same time, we see this aspect of Chiron, Neptune, and Mars in Pisces creating that trine with that North Node. What does that mean? And it's been consistent, continues to be, and continues to be felt collectively and individually. What does this mean? Chiron is a key that unlocks our multidimensionality to shift between timelines. Because as we know by now, our consciousness determines our reality. Our state of mind contextualizes our experiences. Our context gives us our experience. If I say to myself, I'm a fucking horrible astrologer, I'm gonna have feelings of knowing myself as a horrible astrologer and experience all those feelings and sensations. If I talk to myself like, yo, I'm the fucking best, like that brings up a whole other set of emotions that are way different feelings, right? And ideas, and it's just a whole different context. So what I mean by this is Chiron is the unlocking of seeing the earth to heaven, earth to water, earth to soul connection. It's seeing the two worlds and being able to work between both. This is why Chiron rules the alternative healing arts such as Reiki, Tarot, astrology, herbology. It's because there's this working with this universal ether and with the earth, this manifested concrete physical realm, and working between those realms to heal and to make things anew and to help others around us, and also to align one with source and experience one as creator and God / Pisces. So that collective energy is being felt. Still going strong, and with Mars falling into a perfect trine on the 30th / 31st of December at the end of the year with Chiron, at the end of the year, and then early January walks into Aries. So at the beginning of the year, walks into the beginning of the zodiac cycle again. Wow, cosmic synchronicity. This is like, whoa, are you kidding me? Mars, the outward going expression of the collective, is beginning a new cycle around the first week of January. Is that a coincidence? Did they know that like us as humans are gonna start up this Gregorian new year on this date, and it so happens to be reflected in the cosmos? It's interesting, right, to note the synchronicity within that. But this, I feel, will feed into our energy going into this upcoming year, and I will be putting out a January 2019 energy forecast so we can see what energy we're walking into. But for this video, this is just the energy for the full moon that just occurred, and this energy that we're finishing the year with. And it's this energy of going within, taking some space to nurture the self, and this Mars/Chiron conjunction in Pisces, you know, our ventures, our projects, where our desire and our attention and our energy and our efforts are heading towards is definitely embodying that healer archetype. That's been our journey. So at the end of Mars's zodiac journey, he meets Chiron, the healer, and then he begins a new cycle. It is almost as if we've learned and we have gained new abilities to heal ourselves in our own spirituality, in our own following of our faith, and trusting in the unknown. We gain new insights as to how our inner microcosm works, which allows us insights into how the macrocosm works, and which allows us to be able to emphasize and to relate and to have compassion for everybody else experiencing the same experience, because we are all one. This is Mars/Chiron/Pisces conjunction at the end of the year, which is something that we've been building into. So this is the energy that we're finishing the year with.
Yeah, there she goes. She's a beauty and a beauty. Yeah, there she goes. Go. She's a beauty and a beauty. In the morning, in the evening. Yeah. Wherever she's at, she's my muse. She's showing me how to love. Showing me self-sufficiency, self-love. Channeling this into myself, into my passion, into everyone. Baby, you can come right now. She's the goddess of love. I've been doing all my inner work. She's the goddess of love. Baby, you're the state of perfection. She's the goddess of love. I'm the one that's your true